Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Woodstock, Georgia, it's time for Cherokee Business Radio. Now, here's your host.
Welcome to Cherokee Business Radio. Stone Payton here with you this morning, and we are at full capacity. We've got a studio full. You are in for such a real treat this morning. Today's episode is brought to you in part by Alma Coffee, sustainably grown, veteran-owned, and direct trade, which means, of course, from seed to cup, there are no middlemen. Please go check them out at myalmacoffee.com and go visit their Roastery Cafe at 3448 Holly Springs Parkway in Canton. As for Leticia or Harriet, I did that to Harry a couple times ago. Harry, I always say Leticia and Harriet. Actually, his name is Harry. He's a fantastic person, but Leticia is the brains of the outfit. As for either one of them, and please tell them that Stone sent you. All right, first up on Cherokee Business Radio this morning, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce from Orcannus Technologies, Mr. Ron Sweatland. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Stone. How are you?
I am doing well, man. Been looking forward to this conversation. Tell us a little bit about mission, purpose. What are you out there trying to do for folks, man?
Well, we're just trying to keep everybody in the community and elsewhere safe. There's a real threat out there. Unfortunately, we only hear about the big stuff, but nobody's immune to ransomware attacks, any kind of criminal activity, and we're protectors by nature anyways. That comes just from upbringing, my time in the Navy, and we just want everybody to be safe. We want to bring education to the community, because that's the last thing that you want to do is have that phone call with me saying, it's too late. We've been hacked. So,
I know it's got to be an incredible torture for large organizations, but I can't imagine like an organization the size of mine. We would be crippled, I would think, if we got one of these ransomware thingies. And, you know, for small business people, often we're watching every penny. We're taking a look at the rent, our labor costs, materials, you know, all that kind of thing. Absolutely necessary service. But I got to wonder about the backstory. I mean, while everybody else was playing Cowboys and Indians, so you said, well, I'm going to protect people from – how did you get into this line of work?
Well, it started actually probably when I was maybe starting about 15 years old. My mother was actually she's been in the industry for a while, in the computer industry. Huh. And
my mom can't send email.
We can help her with that.
Okay.
So – a lot of times, my choices either were go to Massachusetts and build houses with my grandfather, or I would work in a house, in a warehouse, starting to do computer work and stuff like that with any of the companies that my mother was working for at the time. And, you know, one of the claims to fame that kind of shows my age is we did 2 projects. One of them was going over here to Charlotte, where we did, at the time it was called Wachovia Bank.
Oh, yeah.
The warehouse was filled all the way to the top with computers. So that was one of the major projects that I started with, getting the computers all built up, getting them packed up, putting all the software on there. And it just kind of went from there. You know, throughout my career, I've always been in some capacity in the computer industry. Some of the other things that I would do is, you know, I was in the Navy for a while. I was on the USS Los Angeles, which was a fast attack sub. We was part of the sonar division and weapons department, so we got to either listen to things under the water or go shoot big guns like Tomahawk cruise missiles.
Wow. How mentally tough would you have to be? I mean, my entire frame of reference for this is television and the movies, but you're in a very confined space. Mm-hmm. The stuff that you're looking over and considering employing is very dangerous stuff. You must be incredibly mentally tough, which I'm sure serves you well in your work. Because I would go berserk. They would fire me on the first cruise.
Yeah. So when you're going through submarine school and everything else, you get tested and tested and tested. And if at any point in that time they feel that you're not going to cut it, they can send you to a desk job or to the surface fleet. It's the whole thing where
they'd have put a mop in my hands. No, buddy, you belong up down.
Yeah. So, so like a class of 100, after that 100 go comes through, maybe 20 people come out. And then after you get to that, you go to your first school. Mine was sonar school. And even with that, of a few people going in, only even if fewer people coming out. So there's always a cutoff process the entire way. They had whoever, it was basically at the end when you finished your school, depending on how you ranked in the class, you got to pick where you wanted to get stationed. So I got to go to Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, if that tells you my ranking.
Wow.
And it was pretty good. When I was in Pearl Harbor, I didn't see a lot of it because we were always out to sea because of the missions that we had to do. But I did have an opportunity to go to Japan quite a bit. We were in South Korea, Australia, Tasmania. Tasmanian devils do exist.
That's a real thing.
That's a real thing. They're not little brown guys that run around and make a lot of noise. But so basically after the Navy, I went from a few different kinds of jobs, still staying, partially within the computer realm at some point or the other. I did do a little bit of stuff because I've, some of the folks in my family were mechanics, so I've worked at like mechanic stations or, Goodyear Gemini type places and stuff. But I always seemed to come around, got, 2 degrees. My first one was actually pre-law, criminal justice. And then after that, I went to school here before Kennesaw State took over. It was Southern Poly.
Mm-hmm.
Got my degree there. The funny story with that is my senior project, they basically asked us to take this room just filled with old servers and stuff like that, and they said, we need this virtualized. Well, the project was supposed to be it was a 3-year project. We had it done in 6 months. They actually built out the data center and stuff for us. And the funny thing is as I'm crossing the stage, basically they're like, we don't know how any of this works. Do you want a job? So, staying in the virtualization field, just racking my brains with that. I'd always been in the security portion of it as well. My degree is actually in cybersecurity.
You have a degree in cybersecurity.
Correct.
So that hasn't even existed for too long, I wouldn't think.
Yeah, so it's security and assurance.
Yeah.
So just kind of going from there, we all have had things where we've had jobs and stuff like that where, just something doesn't work out. And it's the whole mantra there where it's like, you don't quit a job, you quit a boss. Unfortunate circumstances. And finally, the final straw was, you know what, I can do this. I had, a very wonderful support program. My wife works full time.
All right, now I can hear. I got to stop you. You got all this job security. Your things are going well, and you go home and you tell Honey Bunch, I'm gonna start running my own thing. What was that conversation like?
I think actually thinking back of it, after kind of doing a lot of the job hunting and stuff, and people just at that point not realizing, the potential that I would be able to bring to their company. I think she was actually the one that actually said, why don't you just start your own thing? You've always talked about it.
Shout out to her. What is her name?
It's Jennifer.
You go, Jennifer. Thank you, Jennifer.
Yeah, so getting her support, she was fortunately making enough to, support everything. And, we went from there. And, it was tough.
Was it hard in the beginning? I mean, it's hard to, to get those first few customers and stuff.
Right. It was really hard to get the first customers. my first customer is probably still my best customer that I have.
Well,
don't tell anybody that, but
that says a lot, though, right, guys? I mean, everybody here at the table knows that means a lot,
right?
Oh, for sure.
And that was actually a word of mouth from another couple that you had on a few weeks ago, Magnetize Me.
Oh, yeah.
So they take care of their website, and they referred me to them to say, hey, maybe you check this guy out. So
neat.
So it all circles around. So, yeah, just that continual support that she would give to us, and then just it's finally starting to, get takeoff and stuff like that. So,
well, I am delighted to hear it. So let's talk a little bit about the problem, some of the strategies toward a solution. Help us get a good handle on what the problem is, what it looks like, how to look at our situation and determine if we ought to at least just have a conversation with you or somebody on your team.
Well, the first thing is to look at your computer. Am I using a reputable antivirus software? Is it monitoring me live? Am I even going back further than that? Am I going to websites that are potentially places I shouldn't be going?
Why is he looking at you, Luke?
That's a great question.
Starting from there, the biggest delivery method is through email. So I find a lot of times that's usually what it is, and it looks harmless. People get PDFs and stuff all the time. Well, it's very easy to go in, for somebody with the right skill set to go in and embed things into that. So it's like, oh, yeah, this looks like a normal PDF, but after you download it on your computer, that's it. That game's over.
Ouch. So is that just like a basic rule? Don't download PDFs, or don't download it unless you know who you're getting. I mean, what's the common sense, just general operating procedures for just regular folks like?
Well, you could
us.
say, download something from somebody that you know. However, that doesn't always work either, because if that person's account has been hacked, and then they send you something, it's like, oh, well, this is from such and such. I know them. This is safe. And then you download it, and then that's it. So
you're scaring the bejesus out of me right now, Ron.
It's one of the things that I do try to do is not try to scare people. I try to educate, I'd like to say. So a good reputable antivirus software solution is going to have something where it scans it before it even downloads.
Okay, so that's a good start. That's like table stakes. Don't even turn the thing on without that.
Right.
Okay.
So a good antivirus solution is going to save you all day. Making sure that computers are up to date. I'm sorry, there's no more support for Windows 7. So if you're on Windows 7, please call me and we'll help you. Or one of the other, many great IT companies that are in the area can help you do that. We're actually getting ready to try to do a huge migration with one of our customers. So it's what happens is when they don't support it, then that's the operating systems that the hackers go after. It's like, well, there's no more security patches, and I already know that this is open right here. I'm just going to exploit this all day.
Interesting.
So, stay on top of the security patches and the updates with your computers. Make sure you're at least on Windows 10 now. I'm not a brand loyalist or anything. Anything that's reputable, just make sure that it's there. So that's just some of the basic stuff that we all should be paying attention to. Okay, so let's shift to, we're thinking about looking at engaging you and your team. What does that look like, particularly in the early going? What does that process look like if we want to engage you? One of the things that we like to say is, if you look at it from a restaurant point, your cook can't be the health food inspector. So you can't, if you go and tell your cook and say, hey, is everything all right back there? He's going to say, oh, yeah, everything's fine or whatever. And your cook's been there for years, has been doing the same thing. You've got complacency and everything else. Well, he's not ever checked, to make sure that the anything's calibrated on the refrigeration units and everything else. We're just that second set of eyes that.
And incidentally, this guy might not be lying. He may actually think everything's okay, right? That's his lens, right? Everything's smooth, it's running, we're getting the food out. But okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Right, and I mean that's the thing. And using another analogy, he's been working on gasoline engines all day, and you're asking him, all of a sudden you bring in a big truck with a diesel engine. He's not going to have the tools or even the skill set, because that's a completely different thing.
Right.
So that's where we can come in. Our purpose is not to make them look bad. It's to actually make them look good, and not only, do the check and everything else, but also teach them, what, these are the things that you've got to stay on top of. These are the things to look for. So,
and I would think that a professional in that capacity, internal like that, who is really at the top of their game, would want outside perspective. They would want, and just like the best in sports want some coaching and some counsel and help them kind of rethink the way they're coming out of the starting blocks or shooting the free throw or what have you.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So you come in to offer some fresh perspective. Do you do anything in particular that you're allowed to talk about to kind of get things going and get a good handle on what the situation is?
Broad generalities.
I don't want you to share anything, I don't want to give the hackers a tip or anything. But.
Right. So basically we go in and we've got tools where we can go through and basically knock on all the doors and windows to make sure, what's open, what can we actually get into? What are the hackers, looking to do? And based off of that, then we can say, all right, this is okay that it's open, but you have to do X, Y, and Z. So basically, we go through and do a full-blown analysis on everything in their technology infrastructure. Not only do we do that, but we go and say, who are your vendors and who has access to your network?
Oh, okay. So because this could be an Achilles heel, right?
Correct.
The vendors and how our relationship is over the.
Correct. So it's. We deal with this guy who delivers corn to us all the time or something. Well, he was just hacked last week, but he still has access point. Well, guess what? He has access into you as well.
Ay.
So it's the continuously thing. It's basically, we have to have the mindset of a criminal to go in there. And that's what it is.
Now, this is getting fun. So you really do. You sort of have to play criminal. You got to start thinking like the criminals think, right? To really help me.
Right.
That's going to be fun.
So so there's that. We actually go through and we have do analysis on their can I get into this door even? That's part of that thing. We've got tools. I've got a tool where some of these have the slide locks or whatever, or key cards, HID cards to get into access. I have a thing that I can be like 5 feet from you and activate this device. It reads what's on that card.
Holy cow.
Then I switch it, and then I can put it back in submit mode, and then I can just go in the door that you just came out of.
If I do anything at all to make you uncomfortable or piss you off during this interview, please tell me and let's clean it up, because I do not want you mad with me. So do you actually find yourself on some projects even, I saw this in some movie, it's like actually hacking their system just to see where the faults are and say, hey, look, Joe, look, Sue, you got some real challenges here.
So that's a really fine line. When I graduated, just like doctors do, I had to sign a Hippocratic oath. Basically, I'm not going to do bad things with the knowledge that I have. And, most everybody that has come out of there, we stand strong and behind that.
Right.
The laws are pretty much like this. If you think of a house, I can come and knock on your door. I can be even creepy and look in your windows to see if I see something. The second that I enter your door, that's when I'm breaking the law.
Okay, well, I'm not suggesting you do it as a marketing technique, although I can see where that would work. I meant with full permission. Like, come on into my shop.
Full permission.
Okay, no, I did hear a story once where I'm from, Pensacola, Florida. A guy that sold windows had a pickup truck with kids in it with BB guns. So anyway, yeah, I'm not suggesting marketing. Okay, but no, with full permission.
So full permission, we go in there. We go in as deep as we can.
Okay, and B, you put on this hacker persona, right?
Right.
Oh,
so that's
cool
one portion of it. There's actually a service that we provide. It's called red teaming. And usually that is hired out. That service is activated by a CEO usually, or CFO, upper things. And basically that is you're not telling your IT department that we're there. And think of it as kind of a ninja type thing where we're going to go in and infiltrate as silently as we can, go all the way in, see how far we can get, and then come all the way out undetected.
See, this is where the submarine training, the mom and the computers, the virtual, all of this, you had like the perfect pedigree education preparation for this work, didn't you?
Yeah, it certainly helps.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that's kind of what the submarines go in and remain undetected. So that's called red teaming, where we go in and we go in like ninjas and see how far we can get, and then we report back.
Got it.
And again, will the IT department get really hurt feelings? Probably, but I mean, at the same time, it's an eye-opening experience for them. It's like, look,
right?
If we do this again, we should only be able to get to this point before you have alarms and triggers and stuff going off, because that's something too. A lot of these companies, no matter what size they are, they don't even have monitoring saying, hey, something's not right here. Or you'll have a company that says, oh, yeah, I've got a firewall that I got at Walmart. Well, you're a business, and, those are even, at best, something that you've used for your house.
Well, and there goes my Walmart sponsorship. Thank you.
They're very good.
They're very good on other things. Have great deals on TV. No, I'm kidding. We're going to have to wrap here in a minute because this is fascinating. To me, I could talk about this all day as much as it is scaring me a little bit. But I did want to ask before we wrap this segment, what about the human factor? Like, even with all these tools in place, I get the sense that there are some things that we can do and not do that could keep us from shooting ourselves in the backside too, right?
Right.
Don't we as humans open some doors that we shouldn't?
Yes.
Okay.
So humans are unfortunately the weakest link.
Okay. All right. Wow.
We're somewhat trusting, and we're very click happy. And it's like, wait, I didn't mean to click that. Well, you can't take that back. You can't control Z.
There's no unclicking.
Yeah, you can't control Z a mouse click. So there has to be a little bit of sense of slow down, have a little bit of sense of paranoia, because it's like there's a lot going on right now.
Right.
I get a threat feed every day, and it's just astronomical, the stuff that people don't even know and hear about. I mean, like Chrome, for example, you constantly have to update Chrome because everybody that they're a huge target, and everybody's wanting to find what that vulnerability is to do that. So
interesting. All right. We do need to wrap this segment, and you got to come back sometime.
Okay.
And it might be even fun, maybe come back with a delighted client, like a local client.
Okay.
And we'll talk about their business too, but what I'd really like to do is hear about the partnership and how you guys are chosen. I think that could be a lot of fun. All right. If someone out there would like to speak with you or someone on your team, let's give them some points of contact, whatever you think is appropriate.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know what's allowed if you got to have like an encrypted password, but I'd love for them to be able to get in touch with you. What's the best way for them to reach out?
Usually, well, I say this, call me, but I actually have that robo-killer sometimes, and it doesn't go through. So you may be talking to Boris.
Gosh.
But my number is 770-712-6668. Email is always good. It's just rsweatland@orcannus.com. Always come check out the site if you'd like to, orcannus.com. And, even if it's something, if you're not sure, we'll make sure it is secure. So, I mean, we can do that. So
fantastic. Well, thanks so much for joining us this morning, man. This has been informative, a little bit scary, but I think it's an important topic, and I want to stay on top of it. And I'm quite sincere. I think there's probably some wisdom in having you come back periodically. Hey, how about hanging out with us while we visit with a couple other guests? All right. Next up on Cherokee Business Radio, we have the managing partner, Grand Poobah, with Carolina Cleaning Solution, Mr. Luke Brillard. Did you learn anything in that last segment?
Yeah, way too much probably. One, that we probably don't want to go into talking about commercial cleaning after that. But man, that's fascinating. I definitely need to probably upgrade my computer system. Yeah, Orcannus will be getting a call from me. So.
You know what we didn't ask him? We'll ask him off air maybe, because I really want this to be your time and your segment.
Yeah.
We didn't ask about the origin of the name Orcannus. Maybe on the next episode we'll jump into that. All right, so let's talk about your outfit. Sounds pretty simple, straightforward, but my experience has been it never is. What you doing and why, man?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, I'm a commercial cleaner. That's simple. We handle your nightly janitorial. We will do all of the specialty flooring. What we consider specialty flooring would be stripping and waxing tile floors. We'll do your carpet cleaning. We will do your tile and grout, clean that, make sure those grout lines are nice and white or gray again, whatever color they started. But we've also recently gotten into polished concrete work and then limestone polishing. So the travertines, the really nice tile you spend a lot of money on.
Yeah.
They dull and wear over time. We will grind those out and repolish them to their natural beauty.
I think I may have seen what you're describing. I may not have. Most of what I discover, most of my new knowledge comes from either being in a winery, a craft brewery, or a bar. This time it was a winery a couple of weekends ago. But it was this beautiful floor that was clearly concrete under it, but somebody had done some magic something on top of it. Is that maybe what you're talking? It was beautiful.
Absolutely. A lot of people actually like epoxy or put another kind of chemical sealant over it.
Okay.
What we'll do is naturally polish it. You can get a concrete floor looking really shiny naturally.
Really? Just by scrubbing the heck out of it with the right machine?
And it actually lasts a lot longer. So a heavily traversed area, naturally that sealant is going to wear away over time. By naturally polishing it and bringing that just no additional chemical, you're going to get 3-4 times the life out of that floor.
So your service, is it the kind of thing that businesses will try to kind of do on their own up to a point, and then they say, okay, we got to get some pros in here? Do you run into that a lot, where you're sort of taking over from the 3 people on staff who are responsible for emptying the trash and all that?
100%. So we do get that feedback a lot. Oh, we do that in-house. It's like, awesome. That is great. I'm glad you have somebody doing it.
Right.
What's been your satisfaction level is the $1 million question. What is your customer satisfaction level? When you walk in and you see something that's maybe a little unsightly, that kind of, it's a reflection on you and your business at the end of the day. That's where we come in. We can absolutely help that. But if it's janitorial, a lot of smaller businesses will do that in-house. Not a problem. I completely understand. But those in-house folks aren't going to be the ones to do the carpet cleaning. They don't have the tools, the resources to do that VCT tile work, make it, really shiny again. You walk into a hospital, they're usually very, very clean, very shiny. There's a reason for that. A professional team came in and redid that floor, and they do it a lot. So
is that sometimes your entry point then? Maybe I'm a financial services company, a real estate development company, whatever. I've got a couple of floors over here in a commercial building, and we've had, just different people emptying the trash and every now and again. But maybe your entry point is you can come in and do a deep clean on the carpet, or that is that how you sometimes build the new relationships?
Absolutely, yeah. One-time cleans are great for us. It doesn't have to be an ongoing relationship, but obviously we would love that.
Sure.
But yeah, we'll come in. We'll do a maintain clean. We will do a one-time clean. We'll do a construction cleanup. So obviously either a property takeover or a brand new project just got built. We can come in and handle that. Absolutely.
So, I'm always fascinated, and I'm interested to get Anna's input on this as well. In a moment, we're going to have Anna Teal and her compadre Jessica talk about all things marketing. But I am curious to know how the whole sales and marketing thing works for a firm like yours, because it's B2B.
It is.
So it's not like a Super Bowl commercial, probably not going to do you much good. Plus, could be your pockets may not be that deep anyway. Like, how do you get to have even like conversations like this with people who ought to be seriously considering your services? How are you getting in that position?
Yeah, absolutely. It's local community work, networking. We've actually sponsored a hole for the Crew Atlanta event. So that's like women in real estate. From there, we got the opportunity to talk to all the people we'll call cold call. Unfortunately, that's the nature of the beast. To get out there, you have to kind of cold call sometimes. It's not fun. So the more we can get out and be in the community and network and see you face to face, the more you get to know us and, realize that there is a face, there is a person, there is a soul behind, that cold call. So
because ultimately I'm buying Luke, right?
Absolutely. You're buying me, my company, my quality, the whole shebang.
And there's a trust. So, Anna, is that consistent with your experience of an outfit like Luke's? He's got to just get out there and build those relationships. And what's your take on the best way for an outfit like his to do?
Absolutely. Like, face-to-face networking is still the number one way to go. I mean, it's still the most viable way to get new clients. And like you said, when they see you as a person rather than, even behind a phone or a computer screen or an email, there's a little bit more impactful and you can make that connection a little bit more easily. So I feel like that is definitely, I say you're doing all the right things.
It's good to hear.
And
it is because, they're pros.
Seems
Absolutely.
like, especially in a B2B business, because it's very different model for marketing than a B2C. So I say kudos.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
three months in, and I'm already getting that praise, so that's good. Good to know.
Wow.
We'll continue.
So what are you enjoying the most, man? What are you finding to be the most rewarding about the work?
Yeah, absolutely. So I came from a corporate sales job. I was a national account manager for a large bathroom and kitchen fixturing company. And the best thing about being my own boss at this point is waking up knowing that any impact I have on the business was directly generated by me, directly generated for me. That is the absolute best feeling. That's why I with my business partner started this business was I want to work for myself. I want that gratification of, I get a project done, pat myself on the back, so to speak. It was all me, and it'll impact both myself and my family and my wife. So
yeah. Okay. Yeah. So 3 months in, kind of new to this effort. Let's because many of our listeners are entrepreneurs, sometimes even aspirational entrepreneurs. Maybe they haven't made the leap yet.
Yeah.
Counsel, if any, that you might have. I don't know, 3 do's and 3 don'ts. Whatever you do this. Whatever you do. For God's sakes, don't do this. Yeah. This early in, what would you say to these folks?
Yeah, so far I don't have any don't do this. Everything, knock on wood, is worked out extremely well for us thus far. But if you're even aspirationally looking at starting a business, I say do it. There is no such thing as a perfect time. You might be looking for that sign or that one moment, that one thing that says it is time. It's never going to come. You just kind of have to do it. And, I have to kind of piggyback on a lot of what Ron said is the way his business started. He's got a very supportive wife. Mine is able to kind of take care of the bills, so to speak, while I'm building this up. And obviously,
so marry up. That's step one. I think we are going to have a checklist here by the time we're done. Just marry up a notch.
Yeah, it sounds like we've both outkicked our coverage, which is great. So,
how do you think I get to do this? My wife has a great job.
Yeah, exactly. So, my wife April, give her a little shout out here. Very, very good job in education. So she's been able to kind of hold down the fort, so to speak, while I'm out, hustling as hard as I can to grow. Right. But there really hasn't been a don't do this so far for me, which is a great feeling to have, but it's all do it. Just go out and do it. If you want it, go make it happen.
All right, very tactical question, and I'm asking as much for me as I am for the listeners because, it is my show, right? How do you handle the money question? Do you wait for the question to be answered? Do you go ahead and bring it up? And then do you do the kind of very matter-of-fact, $738.14 and, kind of answer, or do you do the more it depends and the range thing? And
as far as my pricing and
how have you, if you're willing to share it, I'm curious. I think our listeners want to hear that, and that comes up for me for people who want to underwrite or host shows. I've been doing it for 15 years and I'm still trying to figure out what is the best way to have that conversation.
Yeah. It's to have it. Obviously, you're in business to make money.
Right. So don't avoid it.
Don't avoid it.
I told you, we're getting a heck of a checklist going here, guys. We could publish this and sell it. Okay,
No, don't avoid it. That's why you're there. That's why they have you there, to pay you for a service. But what I go in, I obviously will go in for free, take a look, see what exactly they want, and then from there, it's the pricing model kind of changes depending on the space, depending on the overall ask of the job.
So your work really is custom. There's 100%. No two spaces and needs exactly the same. Okay.
Absolutely not.
All right.
Nope. Your office and the office down the street are going to be priced different, and that's just the nature of my business. Janitorial, you can look anywhere from probably 10 to 12 cents a square foot up to probably 15 to 18.
So you have some rational basis to figure, because it is a very tangible service.
100%. Yeah, it's not just pull it out of the hat, so to speak. There is a science, we'll call it, to it.
Right.
But it's all based on the industry. Obviously, some folks are more expensive than others. Some are cheaper than others. Some just want to win the bid, so they underprice. That's where the almost level of quality would come into the conversation as well. The cheaper we bid it, unfortunately, the cheaper the job's going to look. And I think you could say that in almost any industry, but especially in cleaning. So it's not that I'm going to say I'm the most expensive by any means or I'm the cheapest, but there is a kind of pricing continuum we look at depending on the scope of the work.
All right, so let's talk about the people side.
Yeah.
Recruiting, developing, keeping good folks. You have people out there right now while we're talking, as I understand it. Somebody on behalf of you and your organization, they're out there in a person's place of business. And, this is critical. They could sink you or really elevate you. How did you crack that code, man? Hiring the right people, keeping them motivated, that kind of thing.
That is the secret sauce.
I'll bet.
It's hard. It's hard. It's brand new to me. I've been in interviews. I've interviewed people. I've never been the person to make the final decision. And now, obviously, I'm in that seat. I'm wearing all those hats.
Right.
We put a post out there, actually, on social media. Another shout out to my wife doing a great unpaid internship job on our social media.
April?
April.
Way to go, April.
Yeah.
All right.
Who's listening right now, so I know she heard that, so awesome job, babe. But yeah, we just honestly put some posts out there saying, hey, we're hiring for these positions. Got a lot of interest in them, and I went from there, messaged them back, set up an interview, talked to them on the phone. If they sound like the right fit, this is an unskilled labor job. I'm not going to try and overcomplicate it.
So you're not looking for skill sets so much as your personality, integrity, that kind of stuff.
Correct. I want you to sound honest. I want you to sound like a hard worker. Obviously, I don't know that until you actually get there. So it's kind of a shot in the dark, so to speak. But so far, I've been very, very lucky. I've got 2 folks working right now as we speak on some properties, and so far, so good. I will say I do a very, very good job at being there and supervising, especially we'll call it training hands-on as we start out the account. That way, I'm setting the expectation, the client or the customer is setting that expectation, and everybody hears it, and there's no that kind of middleman telephone game. I'm telling you to do this. They're telling me to do something different. So everybody hears it, straight from the source. That's kind of also helped me out a lot, especially in these early days, is making sure everybody's on the same page.
All right. So what's next for you? Are you going to continue to grow? You trying to go deeper in these existing accounts? A little bit of both. Where's the energy going to be over the next few months?
Yeah, it's growth mode. 100% is my big focus, I think, going forward, at least the next 6 months, is strategic partnerships. There are a lot of companies that they don't necessarily do what we do, but they are in the spaces that we want to be in, doing similar jobs. So for one is we work with a commercial flooring installer. In the past, they have not offered any sort of, with their customers, any sort of cleaning or maintenance packages, which since I've been able to, meet and partner with them, they're now able to do. So they're offering a free service on their end to their customers that I basically come in and help them with. So
interesting.
it's just a matter of them
That's
pitching
smart,
for
isn't
me.
it, Anna? That is good. One of our sponsors, Steel Interiors.
Yeah.
You see them on the sponsor wall there. They will come in and install, like they'll do, like if there's 30, 40 of these desks like we have in here, these
They
kind that go up
outfit
and
the
down,
offices.
and they'll do that kind of stuff. So that's maybe even a potential partner for you, but because you're not competing. And they've already got a relationship, obviously, with the people
With
who
the
run this
commercial
facility.
business,
Yeah. Very cool.
I've got a similar company too. It sounds like Steel Interiors. I'm working with currently, trying to.
Well, give them a shout out, man. That way I can send them an invoice.
That's business environments.
Business environments.
Yeah, and
All
USA Cabling. So it's
very cool.
Two different entities under the same roof.
Right. So you can help each other. You're serving a common client. You're genuinely helping them. And I know, as simple as our great guests come from our great guests, right?
Absolutely.
And so I'm sure the same thing is true in your world. Well, in our world, our great sponsors and underwriters and hosts and ambassadors, they come from other people.
Absolutely.
And they go, oh, you ought to talk to Jill. Or
all referrals. All
yeah.
referrals. The other shout out I have to give is the commercial flooring company is Vanguard Commercial Flooring. So they've been great guys to work with thus far. So
man, you're playing 3-dimensional chess here. Instead of just
doing my best.
Fantastic. All right. If someone wants to reach out, have a conversation with you, or have you come out and look at their property, or just anything in between,
absolutely.
What's the best way for them to connect with you?
Yeah, so we have a website, www.carolinacleaningsolution, no S, carolinacleaningsolution.com.
There's only one solution.
Only one
Carolina,
solution,
baby.
and it is ours. So you'll actually get to the page. There's a landing page. You'll either click on the logo for my business partner, or you'll click on mine. Mine is the one that says GA underneath, Georgia, and it has a peach.
Cool.
So that's where you can find all my information, or our socials. We are Carolina Cleaning Solution of Georgia on Facebook and Instagram. Both my email, phone number, everything you would need to contact me is right there. Love to hear from you guys.
Marvelous. Well, thanks so much for coming in, man, and keep up the good work.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Congrats on the momentum. We're going to keep following your story.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Next up on Cherokee Business Radio. Are y'all ready for the headliner? She and her buddy over here have been so patient. They've been taking copious notes, so I don't know if they're going to rescue you guys and help you with your marketing, or if they're getting just some ideas from you. But no, it is such a pleasure to have this lady and now her colleague here in the studio. She was kind enough, before we actually had a physical studio here in Cherokee, she was kind enough to do a phone-based, a virtual interview with me, and then to kind of get me connected with some other folks in the community. So please join me in welcoming back to the Business RadioX microphone with Teal Marketing, Miss Anna Teal. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you, Stone?
I'm doing well. I am just thrilled to actually have you in studio with us. This is going to be so much fun, and what a blessing to have come into your circle some weeks ago. It's been marvelous. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Oh, we're happy to be here. I'm so glad to see you face to face this time.
It's fun, and it's fun to I know you and Ron, that character, you already knew him pretty well.
Oh yes, we've worked together a few times, so he's a good friend of mine.
And then get a chance to visit with Luke, and that's a very interesting business, and we certainly want to help him out any way we can. But tell us about Teal Marketing, what kind of work you're doing, and I don't know what we can do to help.
Well, first I want to introduce Jessica. She is actually new to the Teal Marketing team and a godsend.
Welcome, Jessica.
So
good morning.
Our team has been growing, and so all good things have been happening since the last time we spoke. But Teal Marketing LLC, we are a digital marketing company pretty much. So we actually work for to help small businesses with their copy needs, website needs, their advertising needs. If they want to run Google ads, Facebook ads, we can help them develop a strategic strategy around that and help with even branding or rebranding their business. So, just from soup to nuts, kind of making sure their brand is consistent online, their messaging is consistent online, and they're making sure that they're keeping up with their interactions online, what their customers are saying, and reputation management. So that's essentially kind of what we're doing right now.
So when I think of a C word associated with branding, I think cool. That's the first. Like you want your thing to be cool, but it sounds to me like every bit as important, if not more so. And you mentioned it a couple times already. Is consistent. Say more about that, if you would.
Yeah. So really, and my favorite part about my job. And I'm not sure about Jessica, but we really enjoy working with clients to develop their brand and really get in their headspace because a lot of people, they have trouble talking about themselves. They don't necessarily want to boast about themselves. They don't want to, it's hard for them to wrap their head around that. So that's where we can come in, help them develop a strategy and determine what makes them unique from all of their competition and really develop a strong message online, develop with keywords, SEO potential to help them really make an impression online. So that's kind of what we do as far as that goes. But yes, it all is woven together. You've got to have a strong website so you can funnel your social channels to that website. That's kind of like your hub. And all of these different marketing levers kind of work to fuel, to your website, which will ultimately gain that lead for you. So from social media to email to traditional marketing, all these different little things are geared to support your ultimate website.
And they do. Well, it makes sense now that you've kind of painted the picture for me, because I can't imagine any business, B2C or B2B, my world is B2B more. I mean, as simple as me reaching out and inviting someone to participate on the show. If they don't know me or Anna hasn't told them, hey, this Stone guy, he's really okay, it's going to be fun, then what's one of the first things they're going to do? They're going to go look at the social profiles. They're going to go check out Cherokee Business Radio. Maybe they go check out BusinessRadioX.com, try to get a feel for the whole network. They're probably going to do all that even before they send me a note and say, yeah, what's this all about? Or where you been all my life or anything in between. They're going to do that. You talked about unique. I'd like to boil down an example because I would think this would be a real challenge. Well, being in this business would be a crazy challenge for me anyway. But let's take a CPA. Mm-hmm. At first blush, I would think that many a CPA would really have a serious challenge trying to differentiate themselves from the CPA down the street. But the truth of the matter, I'm saying this like it's fact. I'm operating under the impression that every CPA really does they are a little unique. They do have a different angle on things or a different way. Is that accurate? And can that be surfaced? And
it is. It is to a certain extent. You have those crowded industries that it's hard to find a differentiating factor. But I think that's what we do best because you can boil down to, yes, your performance is, across the board, very similar to other people in your industry. Right. But there are some little things and problem-solving things that you can pull out, like maybe you are best at listening to your customers and serving their pain points in a certain way, or maybe getting back to them on time. You're best at that. If certain CPAs, maybe they don't get back to you for a week, and maybe you're like on it. Right. And that's something that is a differentiator. And so that's definitely what we try to get with them, determine what are you the best at in your industry, and we can help weave a story to put that out there in the digital world. You know what I mean? So we really try to get down to the nitty-gritty and develop a value proposition for them.
Well, I think maybe you've just described how you are different or one of the ways that you're very different in what I would consider to be a crowded. I mean, you can't swing a dead cat without hitting a marketing person. Am I right, Ron? Yeah, so you, if anybody on the planet has to do this, it's you've got to eat your own cooking, sort of, if you're familiar with that phrase, right? Yes. You've got to. So that's got to be a challenge. But I guess if I see the behavior modeled and I see you saying, look, this is our specialty. We're not all things to all people. This is what we do. We do it extremely well. So this is one of those special ingredients, this helping us find these points of differentiation.
Yes, absolutely. And you're right. I mean, we know those, we know how it is, because you're right. There are a lot of different marketing people, in our community. And so what we like to say is we're very different. And especially with Jessica, she brings such a well-rounded, she's got B2B experience. I've got a whole bunch of experience from product management to all different types of, things I've done in the past, in my past lives that I bring to the table. So we can relate on so many different levels to businesses, especially small businesses are our favorite.
Oh, really? Okay.
To deal with, and to help. Because you're along with them, in that journey, and you can counsel them and, help them, and then you're kind of being there and you see their success and it makes you so proud. Right. So it's a joy for us to be able to help people in our community, reach that different level of growth.
So Jessica, are you having fun? So you're very new, right? Very recently on board?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been with Anna for the past 3 months, and it's been a great experience so far. Kind of speaking to what Anna's already said, what I really enjoy about with a small business environment is there's so much low-hanging fruit. Coming from like a large national network in my previous life, there's a lot of hustle and a lot of like huge challenges that you're after. But when you start to meet with small businesses, a lot of them are at a place where they're not really sure what they're doing, and we can come in and really show them these are some basic things that you can get started and start working. My favorite thing to say is working smarter, not harder, and kind of rather than casting a wide net, kind of helping them to kind of fine tune what their efforts are and maximizing their time and maximizing their budget.
Yeah.
So is there an onboarding structured process that you guys have, or is every situation so unique you just kind of have to feel your way with a new client?
Well, a lot of people come to us with specific needs. So if you go to our website, which is tealmarketingllc.com, you'll see a bunch of packages that we kind of put together based off of kind of an average of what our customer clientele will want. Mm-hmm. But usually that ends up getting tweaked because, some people end up having, 2 social media channels or 5 social media channels, or, they have different needs. And they have different goals too, so we try to get with them and really figure out, what's your goal this next year? Is it to grow your audiences? Is it to create more engagement? Are you wanting to try a new social media platform and give it all you've got, but maybe you need some help and some guidance, so those things are, developed at the point when our customer contacts us, and we kind of say, okay, we'll brainstorm what's best. And oftentimes I will say a lot of our clients will come to us and they'll be on so many social media channels and they'll be just killing themselves. And we're like, based on your industry, let's look at this. Your customers aren't really necessarily on all of these platforms, and let's see if we can cut the fat, because you're wasting a lot of time and energy trying to make something work that may not work for you and may not be where your customer is. So we want to optimize that, like Jessica mentioned, work smarter, not harder, and help guide them and best practices and how to really, work smart on the social media and the digital realm.
So in the social media, this is going to sound like a self-serving statement because I feel like this is one of the advantages of working with a Business RadioX, because we're such a content factory, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, we'll hang out here for an hour and we'll generate a ton of content.
Yeah.
And we're just chewing the fat, right? But it's my understanding that one of the challenges of being effective on social media is just what do you do? Because you can't go out every time and just say, hey, look at me, I'm great, right?
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
So you have to sort of feed that beast. Am I right?
Oh, yes, you do. You have to definitely feed that beast. But it's, our biggest motto, and I think Jessica would agree with this, is quality, not quantity.
Okay.
So, trying to make sure that you get things that are relevant to you and not only your business, but are also relevant to your customers and know your customers. And that's where it goes back to the branding piece, because when we work with clients to develop their brand, we also develop their kind of, their customer, their target market. We give them a name. We give them, what are their characteristics? Where do they live? And so doing that work up front, it may seem like a lot of work, and a lot of people are like, why do we need to do this? But it serves you very well, and it sets those guardrails when you're doing your social media work, because you don't want to develop content that's going to be outside of what they're interested in, because you're going to get low engagement. So it kind of keeps you focused, and it keeps you developing content that's relevant and that will perform well. And, there are some tricks of the trade when it comes to social media, getting around certain algorithms, things like that.
And that's where your expertise and
we
experience.
can help with that. Yes,
Right.
we can help with that. But, it's a very strategic approach. Like I said, that starts with the branding. And we always ask, like, do you have a solid brand? Do you have brand standards? Do you know what your target audience is up front? So we can make sure that we take all of that information into account when we start developing a plan for them.
So a little while ago in another segment, in an earlier segment, Luke with Carolina Cleaning Solution was talking about strategic partner. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure, Luke, you're probably, if you're not already there, you're developing a social media presence. You have stuff out there on these platforms. Is Luke and his organization well served periodically by coming out and shining the light on who's your flooring partner?
Vanguard.
Is there some wisdom in him, like in them somehow, like doing a post or even a series that's all about how great Vanguard is, like not shining the light on themselves?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'd say partnering, doing those social media posts, knowing how to tag them, you tap into their network. So if they've got like 1 million people following them, or, that's great for you. So I say that, the more you can do of that's going to help you get an organic boost on social media. So I definitely think that's a smart way to go.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just to make sure you're tagging, though.
Of course,
you got to know all the things to make it work for you.
You can't just say Vanguard. You got to do that the right tag.
You got to.
But that concept goes back to time immemorial. There is some just good mojo in Business RadioX shining the light on you guys. We get to come along for the ride, right? Like, we're going to publish this show in the next day or two. And you guys are going to get some great exposure. And with you being on the show, we're all going to probably get better exposure than we normally would. But Business RadioX gets to come along for the ride. I don't have to, brag about Business RadioX during the show or in the posting.
Right.
Right. And so that's, that's old as time. Just, being a good person and helping other people can be a very lucrative methodology.
Well, and also you've got 3 friends who are going to share all of your content, and that's invaluable. So,
I'll bet.
It's all everyone kind of helping each other promote business, and I think it's great. I think that's fabulous.
So bringing a colleague on like this, did you really have to think through beforehand, and are you probably having to evolve the division of labor? How have you attacked it now that you're sort of expanded the team?
Well, I will have to say, going from 1 to 2 is a big decision, and I was a little bit stressed out about it, but I don't know. I think I just attribute it to God worked it out, and, I told Jessica, I've known her for years. God, how long have we known each other? 10 years?
Let's not talk about that.
We're going to date ourselves. We're going to see how old we are. But we actually knew each other from college. We were study abroad roommates to Mexico.
Very cool.
When we went to KSU, but she's a dear friend of mine, and I knew she was looking for an opportunity, and I said, okay, I'm going to send her a text message, and if it's meant to be, it'll be.
And it was meant to be.
It was meant to be.
The best time text message.
She was like, oh my God, I'm crying. And I'm like, why are you crying? And she's like, I needed this.
That's funny.
So it just worked out, and when those things happen like that, you're like, well, I guess it's just meant to be. And it's been great. We've had so much fun working together and helping clients and serving our community. So it's great. It's awesome.
And you take that quite seriously, this serving our community. We all say it. And I will say Business RadioX really tries hard to do it. But you really that's a very serious part of your ethos, your value system, the way you guys want to go to market, yeah?
Absolutely. Community is first. And like I said, when it comes to small businesses specifically, especially in our local town, we want to see those businesses succeed. And we just have a soft spot for that. And so I think, we really try to work hard to get them up and running, because small businesses, they've kind of gone through the ringer the past year or so. And so,
amen. I'm raising my hand. No, it hasn't been an easy ride, right, guys?
It has. And so, I think that kind of fueled our passion more to help do whatever we can. And we really think of our clients as family, or friends. It's just we're kind of partners with them, and they know that we want them to succeed, and we're acting in their best interest. And we'll never sell them anything they don't need because we know they're tight. We know the hard times they've just come through. So we really try to say, hey, if I was in your shoes, what would I need and what would be my top priorities? And that's how we work.
That's a great way to approach it. And my experience has been with small business people, when they start to see an ROI on that, then they will invest more with you if it makes sense.
Absolutely.
And they trust you. And so sometimes those can be very significant, lucrative accounts, but rightly so, because you're delivering on the ROI. So probably a conversation for another time, probably not even an on-air conversation, although it might be fun to do it that way. But I want to plant a seed with the two of you. One of the key ingredients to getting a new studio up and running in the Business RadioX network is to, one, have a house show like this that serves the general community. And then there are some specific niches, different ecosystems that we all try to serve. So I've been teaching people how to set up these studios and run them for years. But here, one of the next steps for us is I need and want to launch a Women in Business show. So I need to be thinking about the branding, the positioning. The last person on the planet that should host that show is me. I'd like very much to find a sponsor. I don't have to get rich off the sponsor, but I need it to be positive cash flow on that. But the show concept, if you will, is to have a room full, 2, 3, 4 at a time businesses that are run by females, by women in business. So I'll take all the help I can get just casually, just as people that you think we ought to invite to be anything from guests to sponsors to maybe and hosts or whatever. But also, I think it would be unwise not to really think through. I don't think just Business Radio X or just Business Radio X Cherokee branding is enough. I think we got to go a little deeper and really, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that would be smart to do. Count us in. We'll be glad to help with that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
But I would think that we would want to walk through this whole process and really think through who are we trying to reach? Why are we trying to reach them? Where are they hanging out? Where do they get excited? All the stuff you marketing people ask the good questions. So anyway, we'll take all the help we can get on that front.
Yeah, of course.
So what's next for you guys? It's an exciting time for you. I feel like, particularly in this community, I mean, what a supportive community Cherokee is. But it's I feel some new energy. I don't know, with the pandemic, kind of some of those worries are subsiding. Is that influencing some of your plans for the coming months? What's on your radar?
Yeah, I mean, I think we want to grow and we want to kind of expand. And like I said, the more we can help our community, the better we are. And so I think we're just definitely on that growth bandwagon. So we're looking for new clients, and so we're definitely there. So yeah.
Well, if there's a way for you to leverage this platform to build relationships or serve your clients, let's think that through a little bit, because it's a fun way to serve, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it. I've enjoyed hearing everyone's story today.
I have too. It's been a blast. And Jessica, I'm so glad that we've got you in the fold. This is fantastic. Welcome aboard.
Thank you so much. So happy to be here.
Yeah. All right. Let's leave our listeners with a way to get in touch with you or Jessica, whatever you feel like is appropriate, LinkedIn, website, phone, whatever.
Sure. You can go to our website at tealmarketingllc.com. You can find our contact information there, phones, emails. If you want to email me, my email is anna@tealmarketingllc.com. If you want to email Jessica, you can flood her inbox at jessica@tealmarketingllc.com.
What a delight to have you two in the studio today. Let's do it again. I'm quite sincere when I say let's swing back around and
absolutely. I would love to be a part of that journey to offer some insight into women-owned business.
Fantastic. All right. Well, we'll put some thought and energy into that. All right. Until next time, this is Stone Payton for our guest today and everyone here at the Business RadioX family saying we'll see you next time on Cherokee Business Radio.